So as more and more people come into the transaction space, as you said, and it's already a complex, and we said you sketched a reasonable circular kind of convoluted thing that's going on to get stuff paid. What happens as the crypto, the blockchain sort of comes into play? What happens to these people?
Well, when I think about the ecosystem, because it's massive,
Yeah,
Visa doesn't publish it out, but it's rumored they're doing what 24,000 transactions per second. I mean, it's hundreds of millions of transactions are occurring, and people, you think about people paying like $1 on a credit card or whatever. I
right.
I don't I don't think that goes away. If anything, the way merchants there was a Deloitte study that they did with PayPal, and it was late last year, December 2021, and they were asking the big retailers, what do you think of crypto? What do where do you think this is headed? How do you prepare? And it was something like 83% said it is going to happen and they need to be ready for it. And the reason is, if a customer would prefer to pay a certain way, certainly that retailer or that business would like to make it a nice customer experience,
Sure.
let you pay however you want to pay, right? And then separately, while it is legal tender, like when you think about crypto, certainly in the US it is accepted, and certain countries have gone full blown, which I think that, even El Salvador still accepts uh, their own peso like colon, and they accept US dollar. It's not like they've done away with everything. There are still, ways to convert it, but it's just I think the merchants are seeing it's not going to go away. And it feels very like internet of the 90s, where people were like, yeah,
Interesting.
this thing, kicking the tires. It's going to evolve. It needs regulation. But in general, I think there's a lot of goodness on just more transparency in one way, privacy in another, more frictionless capabilities that I think it is going to evolve into,
A thing.
might be different, but I think it's going to happen.
Thinking about the idea of the wallet, and the primary use of a wallet, right, is to store, traditionally would be to store some currency,
Physical
right?
currency, yeah.
Or then it became
And
credit
some
cards.
credit cards.
But what you're getting at is interesting too, where it's like, but also if you really think about how a wallet was, I was thinking of like back in the day, my mom had one of those wallets that like folds out, and they had like all the different cards and different compartments.
Sure.
But there was rewards cards in there. There were special things. And like that is truly what some of this wallet technology is. Like you could learn a lot about her buying habits, what stores,
Just
because she had
by
a Kohl's, 10 punch kind of thing or whatever else. And it really is kind of a moving, just digitizing a lot of that. And there's so much information in that wallet back in the day physically, as well as now. And the technology still needs to figure out, again, millions of different wallets and things like that. But that access to that data is going to be, like we said at the beginning, going to be really powerful.
that is going to be wild. What do
I
you?
think oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please.
If a wallet, so the wallets now are holding like medical
Right.
records,
Mhm.
emergency. So as the wallet evolves to be like my hub, where my information, I own it, I manage it, I share it as I actually prefer that. Like nothing scares me more than my medical information sitting at a doctor's office and they photocopied my photo ID, right? And do I think that they're not, able to be breached? I definitely do, right? And they probably are being, and they don't even know it. So the more that the data can be, I put in the wallet and it's like a super app that it's holding not just the payment methods, but maybe some more information about me. And maybe it's even
That's
investments,
cool.
maybe it's my insurance, right? So
Your
like if,
health care, your insurance, right?
that
All of
could be
it.
my car insurance even,
Right.
right? And I'm controlling who I share it with, when and how. I actually think that's much more powerful than having my data sit everywhere else, which is unfortunately how it lives today.
I wonder if there's a future where you're charging brands if you want access to my data. I will charge you a fee for that.
For sure. And I think the super app has kind of caught on in like some of the like China and
Right.
places, but where you can social media, all that stuff exists within kind of one ecosystem. But as you'd expect with some of the stuff like in China in particular, the control doesn't rest as much in your hands, right? So that's
No.
kind of an interesting,
No, not there.
but that's a interesting subtext of decentralization. Is the heart of that is actually centralizing,
Individually.
yeah, your stuff within your control and having access. Because I agree completely with the ability to, if need be, turn on or turn off. I mean, it's even worse in a medical sense when you go to a new doctor. It's like, here's your history. It's like, how many times have you
Filled out
filled
that
this form?
again.
And it's
I
a
mean,
physical
like
form, and
every,
it's
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of insane that you can't just
It's not
standardize that.
swipeable, you know.
Or you set,
Yes.
to your point, you set it up on one doctor's back end that doesn't talk to another one, and
Right.
the files can't port around. I mean, I remember as far as like only 4 or 5 years ago, I needed like dental records when I moved, and they sent me a CD-ROM. I was like, I don't know
Wow.
what do I even do with a CD?
What-
Not a
what is-
CD-ROM. I like had to get an external CD drive to even put
Wow.
it in anything. But that's a good
Yeah.
illustration of that kind of walled gardens that aren't even
Right.
well built, like
Right,
that exist in
right.
these different places.
Yes.